fuck.
After 2 years of a total lack of iconic exclusives, Microsoft suddenly struck loudly and from all guns. Just one game. But what a game. Hi-Fi Rush is able to stand alone against all released projects from Sony in the period from 2020 to 2022 and steadfastly hold the blow. What is Hi-Fi Rush? It has 98 positive reviews on Steam on 500 votes. It has a 9.1 rating from players on Metacritic and 90 from critics on OpenCritic aggregator. Simply put, Hi-Fi Rush is a gaming and cultural phenomenon. It is the enjoyment of 3 art forms at once. The game is as much fun to watch as it is to listen to and, in fact, to play. Shinji Mikamiya's studio, Tango Gameworks, has a stellar track record. The studio has a great, but nation financially unsuccessful horror trilogy, Evil Within. Last March, the studio made its mark with the controversial mystical thriller Ghostwire, Tokyo. The maestro and head of Tango Gameworks himself created such iconic games as Resident Evil, Devil May Cry, Vanquish, Shadow of the Damned. He also invented the over-the-shoulder perspective in third-person games. Mikami is a game industry wizard and innovator, but it has been a long time since he has had a high-profile project, let alone a breakthrough. Looking at the footage and trailer of Hi-Fi Rush, it is hard to think that this is a game by a studio that specializes in the horror and mystical genre. It is even harder to suspect it of gaming revelations, but Hi-Fi Rush is Tango Gameworks' best game and a creative revelation, both from a visual and narrative standpoint and from a gameplay standpoint. Hi-Fi Rush is a breath of fresh air in the stale swamp of the gaming industry. Amidst the glut of game services, donation cesspools, and expansive open worlds, comes a long and varied single-player adventure. The game is a musical slasher enriched with platforming and a pinch of exploration. The main feature of the project is the rhythm to which the world of Hi-Fi Rush is subjected. Every element of it moves and lives to the beat of the music playing in the background. The movement of heroes and enemies, their attacks, animations, the behavior of minor characters, numerous objects and elements of the environment. Combat system and interaction with the surrounding world is tied to the rhythm, but most importantly, you may not have any sense of rhythm or hearing to enjoy what is happening on the screen. But the more developed they are, the more this wonderful cartoon world sucks you in. One of the virtues of Hi-Fi Rush is its plot. The story is not about philosophical interpretations of events, nor does it conceal any depth or complex characters, and that is the beauty of it. Hi-Fi Rush is a classic cartoon from the 90s by Disney or Universal, with the same style and, most importantly, the animation and expression of the characters. It is a story about the importance of being honest and doing the right thing, about friendship and fighting evil, about love and the embarrassment of showing it, about family and greed. Hi-Fi Rush is a dive into childhood, an opportunity to experience again those forgotten feelings of music, humor, characters and their actions. It is a funny and amusing game that grabs you from the first seconds and does not let you go until the end of the credits. What is more, in addition to the understandable cartoon choices, the narrative is a hypertrophied satire on the modern corporate world. The game operates with simple but so honest characters. The main character, named Chai, is a typical shirt boy, hovering in the clouds and acting at random. His battle buddy and counterbalance to his bad ad is a girl named Peppermint, the main decoration of the whole game. Beautiful, smart, sassy, and sarcastic. Macaroon is a good genius engineer, assisted by the robotic psychologist Coriander. These are lively characters. They have witty jokes, don't communicate in templates and speak without a dash of pathos. The local villains are deliberately caricatured and absurd, but you believe in them. Everything about the plot follows the rules of classic animation. The game has amazing staging clips, animation, editing, angles, grimaces and accents. And, as you may recall, all this is subordinate to the musical rhythm. Everything moves and happens to the beat. Few movies can boast such meticulous work, let alone a game. But the work of the animators and screenwriters is not the only reason why the game got such popularity and high sales, even despite its release on the Xbox Game Pass service. You see, apart from the staging part, Hi-Fi Rush is also a fascinating and elaborated game. As mentioned above, it has a slasher with flecks of platforming and level exploration. From the first minutes of the game, the main character gets an audio player implanted into his heart by mistake, and it makes the whole world around him move to the beat of the melody playing in his chest. All blows of the hero and enemies are struck to the beat of T. You may not have a sense of rhythm and miss the beat. It is not a big deal. The game will still hit exactly on the beat, but the more accurate to the music you are, the more points you earn that are used to buy combo attacks, special moves, and upgrades. Numerous on-screen cues, aptly woven into the environment, help you catch the rhythm, and the gamepad gradually lets the beat through the player's hands. The special beauty of Hi-Fi Rush is that it will gradually make even the stone dance. At the time of battles, allowed to call for help to a partner by pressing a special button. Skills and tricks of the partners can also be bought with skill points earned. The more partners you are given, the more diverse enemies will be encountered. Hi-Fi Rush has a filigree sense of proportion. Gameplay is never boring. Hour after hour, the game gradually unfolds, tossing in new skills, partners, enemies with different approaches to themselves, and a variety of game situations. By the end of the second third of the game, the player will have an extensive arsenal of techniques, allowing to arrange a fairy show on the screen. And it is a show you will have to put on, or you want to get any further. Another thing is that in order to perform, it is not necessary to memorize long combinations of keys. The combat system is extremely friendly. Memorizing the combinations affects only the number of points earned and the time spent on overcoming combat obstacles. If you list all the basic techniques of T, Mint, and their assistants, you get a feeling of a wild salad of incongruous elements. In a single battle, the player will use classic strikes, character, parry clearly to the beat, play mini-games, summon partners, use hook get, use special techniques to pierce one type of shield, use a parallel partner to pierce another type of shield, to play in the middle of the battle in a form of Guitar Hero. The beauty is in the proper dosage of ingredients, and the better you master this wild set, the brighter and more colorful the battle performance will be. Tense battles give not only a sense of their own skill, but also an inexpressible childlike joy. Especially want to highlight the battles with the bosses. There are many of them. They are different, with a different approach. The battles are vivid, but, unfortunately, much simpler than we wanted. Surprising but true. As a linear single-player game, Hi-Fi Rush also includes in-game activities after the playthrough and provides an incentive to play it again. After the final credits, players are presented with a challenge tower where they can continue to earn points to pump up and perform activities, earning special coupons. Coupons and points can buy audio tracks, hero costumes, and guitars for T. And with persistence will unlock a secret addition to the ending. During the first passage, you can notice at the levels of places where you cannot get without having met the partner or undiscovered skills. For the second passage of the story and getting into previously unreachable areas, the player also get a coupon, text messages, points of boost, and further disclosure of the story, and one passage all does not. A music game must have a cool sound. Audio feels, rest assured. Hi-Fi Rush has an almost unattainable level of sound quality and sound design. It makes no sense to describe how sounds are combined with music in this world. You need to hear it, preferably on a quality headset. As for the musical content, it is incomparable. The project has a stunning, written specifically for the game, the musical series, and about 10 licensed tracks. The letter, the music in the style of 9 Inch Nails and U2 of the early noughties. Fans of rap, thrash metal, or techno, please ignore. There are plenty of flows for you here. Hi-Fi Rush one wants to talk about for days on end and still find something new to say. So varied and fascinating, it gives the kind of emotions that modern art has forgotten to give. Not just games, but, in many ways, film and animation. It is a funny, witty, and hilarious story with game mechanics known but honed to perfection. It is a piece of work that gets into your heart, and once there, stays there forever. The brightest game in the portfolio of the master of mysticism and horror Shinji Mikami has become his best work.